Welcome to the Mind and Body Shop. My name is Alfredo Zapata, and today episode, we're gonna talk about who's your bodyguard. That's the question that I want to start with. And some people they're gonna say, "Well, what are you talking about bodyguards?" And in life and basically in health, we all know that when we're born, the first milk that the mother gave us give us some antibiotics and give us some strength for our body. It's kind of like a genetic code that goes through that colostrum, which is the one that enable our bodies to start functioning, to breathe, and to get our bodies to be, developed. And I chose this title because now that we're in 2021, this is something that is been going around since last year, but sometimes we don't talk too much about it. And that's what is protecting our bodies, how we protect our bodies, what happened when we get sick. And, and sometimes we don't think about sickness until we get sick, right? Because we don't we don't see the sickness, we cannot smell it, we cannot touch it. It just occurs to our bodies in different ways. And one of the things that is very important to be aware is who's our bodyguard, what is protecting us. And in this case, when we're born, we get this first milk, which is very encouraged for the pediatricians and throughout the whole pregnancy for women to be nourished correctly, to take their supplements, to be checking on the blood panels to see how they're doing, if there is no changes, and also if there is not any pre-existing conditions. And right now, talking about the mind and body shop, we're always looking for ways to give you the best tips, the best information for your health to be on top. And especially now in 2021, despite of all the information, we need to go back to the basics. That's why I wanted to put it this way. And and in fact, there are some movies. There was this Whitney Houston famous movie. I think it was the Bodyguard with I don't know if it was Kevin Costner or one of those actors. Anyway, so he was her bodyguard. And you know what happened when you have a bodyguard in this case? It protects you and makes sure that you're safe and everything else. So for our bodies, for our health, our bodyguard is our immune system. And what happens when our immune system is not on top? What happens with our immune system is at a whack, and what happens when we don't get the protection that we need? There is some old recommendation that the mothers, grandmothers will tell the kids, make sure you wear a jacket if you're going out. Make sure that you don't go out with the wet hair. And some of the things that are like, with the good intentions, but not necessarily are going to protect us like a bodyguard not to get sick. Because now with the information I just give, to you, our immune system is our bodyguard. And what happens if our immune system is not on top, if it's not 100% well? Well, something's going to happen. And regarding of the jacket or the wet hair or eating breakfast in the morning is going to help us. The immune system going to have some deficiencies, and that's going to give us a hard time in different situations, even seasons. There is some allergy seasons. There is sometimes some like a winter season, and all those different changes affect the immune system. Besides something that is been growing in the past, year now and this year, which is the stress, the anxiety. And I mentioned a little bit before in the previous episodes about how much our bodies get affected when there is some emotional situations. In this case, the immune system also is responsible for protecting us and helping us to have a stability on that particular in that particular area. And we need to be very careful in how we manage that, because regardless of all the medications and all the science and everything that we can take externally, our body is producing that, all the nutrients, and the immune system gets the development after we are born and when we get the first milk. And that's how we get that code to start producing those antibodies and protecting us and helping us to recover in the right way. I'm going to talk about some of the ethnic backgrounds. They have more difficulty getting that immune system protected. And I think sometimes we are looking at like some of the external, some of the recommendations, and people say, well, you gotta take your multivitamins, you gotta eat well, you gotta, like some of the myth that I mentioned before, that you gotta drink some a glass of water, and you gotta eat this and that, and you gotta do different things. But just looking again to the basic is gonna help us to have sufficient support in our bodies to carry along in our development as a child, as a pre-adolescent, adults, and different demographics. So one of the main situations the immune system had to do with it also is with the microbiome, which is something that I mentioned before. If that microbiome is healthy, our immune system is going to be working more in equilibrium, more in balance. And how do we do it? Obviously, with the right nutrients to help that protection. One of the main components that is going to help us is a pro-hormone called the vitamin D. And the vitamin D gets synthesized by the sun. So the recommendation is to have 15, 20 minutes of sun exposure daily in order to get that vitamin synthesized in our bodies and being able to get the connection with other elements to get the right shield for our body to protect from infections, from different illnesses. And sometimes we don't take too much of consideration, and we think that only the pharmacology, all the medicine is going to help us. But some of the medicine that help us to reduce those symptoms, it will carry in our bodies with some type of reactions, sometimes allergic reaction, like some people are allergic to penicillin, or some people are allergic to some of the drugs that help us to heal from some illness. So we got to be very careful about the essence of health internally. In this case, we're talking about the bodyguard. The immune system has to be in top shape. And how do we do it? I just mentioned vitamin D is one of the key elements to store the body to protect with the immune system. The exposure of sunlight, and also we have to take a look of some of the areas where people live. If they are far from the equation of the sunlight, we're gonna have a problem, more susceptibility to get more challenge to recover from illnesses, like especially people with a dark skin. It's going to take a little more challenge to synthesize the vitamin D, plus the magnesium and the zinc, which are the ones combined that really boost the immune system. Yeah, of course, you can start protecting, taking some supplements, but the essence is the natural food. Obviously, that is going to be the primary source plus the exposure of the sunlight. And, if you're far away from that exposure, you're going to have a little more hard time. But for example, lighter skin is going to have a little more easy to synthesize that vitamin, but also you still have to promote that exposure, even if it is not possible daily, at least, a couple times a week. Plus, your supplements obviously to have a good and balanced diet according to your needs, age, weight, activities, and if there is any pre-existing condition as well. But the base is going to be to strengthen the immune system, which is our bodyguard. And like I said, in the Mind and Body Shop, I always look for ways to give you simple but very effective tips, information, how to take care of your health. And so we gotta make sure that everybody understands that regardless of technology, science, and everything, these are the basics. And the human body need that. Even from the beginning of the age until now, in this 2021, we still need to be focusing on that. And if there is some supplement that you take, you got to make sure they're the purest possible, the natural possible to put into your body so your body can absorb it in a natural way. And sometimes, reading labels, that's another tip in terms of looking for good antioxidants, good information from natural sources is going to be very helpful, and not necessarily organic, but natural sources of antioxidants, like the cranberries, the avocados, the the eggs also have a good amount of nutrients and vitamin D as well, and combination. So it has to be a combination. It's like when you're trying to get in shape, you cannot just be doing exercise 5 7 days a week and eating poorly. That is not going to give you good results, or the other way around. There's a lot of people, they do very little exercise. They think they just walking is going to help them to have a good health, physically shape, and it's not. But some people, they think that only with the sun exposure is going to help them to protect their immune system, and that's just part of it. So it has to be a combination. That's why the mind, it has to be in the right place, meaning organized and following those essential steps so the body can start functioning correctly. So this is one of the main things that I've been focusing, helping people. One, to be aware of their health. The other one is to check how the body functions daily to improve the dynamic activities of people. And dynamic meaning to do it with just the necessary effort. So promoting the strength of the immune system, it has to be in the same way. Why? Because it's going to help to have a good function in a connected way, in a pattern that is follow from the essential, which is taking care of the internal functions of the body. How do we do it? Like I mentioned, the exposure to the sunlight, to check on the natural sources to promote the protection correctly of the bodyguard, that immune system, and not to let just the supplement or one of the other ways of promoting that strength of that immune system just to work alone, because that's not going to happen. Some people, they resource to other natural remedies, which is good, but it's just partially, and that is not going to give you enough to support. If you already had several years of bad eating habits, of no sunlight exposure, no exercise, no activity, you're going to have a poor muscle mass. Even if you're skinny, you're going to have less dynamic ability to do your regular routines. Plus, if you have some external element that cause you, just a common flu, some type of digestive infection, or some type of migraine, or some situation that the body need to heal from the inside out, it's gonna take longer. There's some people that it's often to hear that people talking about, like, oh well, flu season is the one that I really hate, because that's when I get bedridden for like a week or two. But it's kind of like doing a talk and thinking that that's normal, but not necessarily is normal, because that means that person has more susceptible the body to be weak. And to begin, the immune system is most likely to be weak overall. And in those seasons, it's going to enhance the risk of getting over a cold, over a flu, over some symptoms from the season, then it's going to be hard to get rid of. And I always recommend, don't think about the everything is terminal, because you can improve it. So in this case, you can improve the potency of your immune system just following these particular top tips to make sure you're eating enough antioxidants, cranberries, the avocados, that you go sun exposure. Right now, with this pandemic thing, in some cases, it is possible, maybe at home or maybe through the window, but at least to promote some, besides doing some physical activity, so your metabolism is producing energy and also eliminating toxins, and not just staying home and close doors, because the body is not going to be able to manage to protect. Even if you're close and you never go outside, you still need to follow those particular tips, because it's going to give you enough for your body to produce those protections that the immune system has, and being able to help you to function in many different ways. Like, right now, I've been spending most of the time, almost throughout the whole week, working at home. I go out, a couple of times only, just to see some clients here locally. But most of the work that I do is through Zoom, through phone calls, through messaging, because one is simple, faster. I can reach to a lot more people, but also I can be protecting myself. Even though I exercise and I eat well, some of the people, obviously, they need to do some activities outdoors. Sometimes they, even people need to travel. But having those bases of what I just mentioned, to protect your body, and to make sure that that you're aware of what type of skin you are, what type of condition do you have, because it's not just to strength, to take those nutrients and food and supplements to protect your immune system, or to boost your immune system. It's how you live daily, then it's going to help you. So you see what I'm saying? It's not just one thing that you need to do. It's several things that you got to do in a regular basis to take care of your body, in this case, to protect your immune system, which is your bodyguard. So I've seen people, even athletes, they don't have a good immune system. And even though they might be in a good shape and very successful in what they do, and as soon as they catch some infection, they go down for several days with the difficulty to recover. And even people that were infected by this COVID, they had a hard time, even though people healthy, low body fat, good shape, exercising. Why? Because the immune system was weak. And in not too many places, they do testing for deficiencies of especially vitamin D or immune system. And some of the places where they do the test is not that cheap. It's a bit expensive for like general population. So in order to do that, you gotta make sure that you kind of get to know your body. What are the some of the maybe symptoms you might have? Check with your doctor and your blood panel to see where you're at. But if you start with those basic recommendations, for sure you're gonna get some benefit. You're gonna feel better, and that is a good starting point because you're not just waiting for the magic pill or the vaccine that is gonna protect you if you get infected again or against any other virus or disease, because that will be not proper thinking. Because even if you get your shot and you're immune to something, if your immune system is weak, it's gonna take longer. And besides, if you have some pre-existing conditions, it's gonna be more. So my recommendation now, as we end up this episode, is to take a look of how you nourish. Besides your body, your immune system, because remember that that's your bodyguard. That's the one that's gonna protect you against those elements, help you to recover. Besides eating well, exercising, and having a clear mind, and all that stuff. This is something internally that because we don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It doesn't mean that it's not important. So next episode, we're going to talk about other very interesting things about health and how you can see the difference and make it better for you and for the people around you. So stay tuned for the next show. And like I mentioned before, if you want to see what is your score in terms of your health, send me an email to alfredoscoaching@gmail.com so I can send you this free assessment. There's a few questions, and you can see at the end a chart with colors and tells you what is your current status. That's a really handy way for you to see, and also what you can do depending on where you are in terms of your health. So stay tuned. Thank you for listening. And if you think this is helpful, share it with as many people you can. So stay tuned. We'll see you for the next show. Bye bye.